Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ballpit. It's your host Aaron here, and I'm reacting again today to Hasan Piker going on Piers Morgan Uncensored to talk about Israel and Palestine. This is a bit scary video to make for me because, as you guys know, when I react, I typically, my reaction video is typically 5 or 6 times the length of the original video, and this is a 39-minute video. We've obviously skipping the first 12 and a half minutes because it doesn't matter. But so I'm going to do my best. Oh my god, bro, everybody fucking text me whenever it's time to record. But for an hour before recording, no text messages. As soon as I hit that start recording button, fucking text message. It's unstoppable. I'm going to try my best not to pause all the time because or else we'll be here forever. But at the same time, you know what? Longer video, more content to watch. Who cares? All right, let's get into it.
No, it's a preposterous suggestion. I do not do what she does, right? But Hasan, here's the point I would make to you. A lot of people think a lot of these protesters at universities in America are performative. The ones who are chanting their support for Hamas, the ones who are chanting about intifada and pretending it's not about a violent uprising. I mean, do you accept that a lot of that is not only performative, but public demonstration of support for terrorism?
That's a very targeted question. Obviously, any public rally or whatever like that is performative. That's in the nature of it. If it wasn't performative, it would be private, which then would lose the effectiveness of it. But it's also a targeted question because he's talking about how universities are publicly supporting, and these rallies are publicly supporting Hamas. But that's that's a biased way to ask the question, because you should say rallies that support Palestine, and you can encompass what that means later. But in the way you're asking the question, you are putting the idea that support for Palestine is support for terrorism already in it. You're already caving away into bias. It's already a charged question. So that's not a great way to ask that if you're trying to be a non-biased moderator, which we know that's ultimately not Piers Morgan's idea anyways. He is biased. So go from there.
Absolutely not. I don't think that. I mean, all protests are technically performative, obviously, but there's a very clear-cut goal for the group of students at Columbia and many other universities. I was in Melbourne not that long ago, and I attended a Palestinian protest there, a Palestinian rally there, and the students there were also demanding the exact same thing, that they divest, their colleges divest from a lot of the companies that are aligned with the state of Israel, a lot of the companies that are directly involved in operations in the West Bank, a lot of the companies that are playing a role in the regular maintenance of the apartheid regime of Israel and helping Israel conduct an ethnic cleansing campaign. That is the ultimate goal. That is why they're trying to very clearly cause a little bit of a disruption and engage in.
But are you comfortable?
Okay. Here, we're going to rewind it before Piers Morgan goes in to challenge it, just to kind of review what Hasan said. Again, I'm trying to be better, guys. I'm trying not to pause every time I need to say something, let him finish, and then say my point. So, essentially saying that these college students are protesting because they want their college to divest in Israeli-related operations, so stop working with companies or start putting sister campuses like Columbia's doing in Tel Aviv and stuff like that. They don't want their tuition dollars to be used for this I'm going to say political cause, to try to be non-biased, but this human rights issue that's going on, and a thing Hasan said is that a little disruption, and I do actually appreciate his usage of that, because it feels like compared to other protests we've seen, this one has been less disruptive in terms of the shit that moderates complain about, they're blocking roadways so people can't get to work, they're blocking railroads so stuff can't get moved, goods can't get moved and stuff like that. So I think that's a good point to include in there. All right, and then we're going to see what happens when Piers challenges this.
Cause a little bit of a disruption and engage in.
But are you comfortable? Okay, but are you comfortable,
the most American thing you can do?
Are you comfortable with the ones who are seen chanting?
So he said engaging in the most American thing you can do, which is civil disobedience, which is true. I mean, in the American Revolution, it was, like the Boston Tea Party and stuff like that was literally engaging in civil revolution.
Goal. That is why they're trying to very clearly cause a little bit of a disruption and engage in.
But are you comfortable? Okay, but are you comfortable,
the most American thing you can do?
Are you comfortable with the ones who are seen chanting support for Hamas or chanting about Intifada?
I am perfectly comfortable with people chanting about the Intifada. As far as the Hamas thing goes, any kind of protest is always going to have a litany of random people. But
also, the basis of free speech is that you're allowed to support terrorism. Like, it's not obviously the basis of it. They didn't do it just to support terrorism, but actually, in a sense, they did, because freedom of speech was based on the ability to speak out against the government, which is what the American Revolution did. And I'm sure that the British government at the time viewed American revolutionaries as terrorists. Right? So in a basic sense, support of free speech is just that, the support of free speech. So even if you say, I don't support Hamas and I don't think other people should, that's fine opinion to have, but at the same time, you have to understand that the freedom of speech covers that. So you can talk about that, right?
But ultimately,
that's what it means.
Really
that's what it is
the
for.
Actual tangible goals that the protest movement is stating they're interested in. And I think that those goals, and I think you will agree with me on this, Piers, I think those goals are pretty valid overall. I think that they want to, one, recenter the attention to the genocide that is ongoing in Gaza, and two, demand that their tuition dollars do not go to...
Is the blonde woman in the middle wearing an Israeli dog tag around her neck? That's crazy. Like an IDF dog tag? That's crazy. That's insane.
Operations in Israel. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a camp.
Oh, sorry. Again, I'm doing my thing where I pause too much. I love this woman right here's dress. I think her dress is really cool.
That their tuition dollars
just had to put that out there.
To operations in Israel.
Right.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a campus. There's going to be a sister campus that
Columbia
is being built in Tel Aviv right now for Columbia University. This means that Columbia University, which once housed the likes of the late great Edward Said and many others, and that currently has many Palestinian students,
I'm getting a phone call.
Tuition for projects
I don't know
such as
that
this
number.
one, will not be able to go to that sister campus. I find that abhorrent, but it's everyday existence in Israel.
Let me bring.
Okay. Oh, so Palestinian/Arab peoples aren't able to attend higher education in Israel, or is that specifically because of this? They're not allowed in Tel Aviv right now. I don't know the news on that, but if that is the case, then that is like apartheid shit, right? Like, just directly having different rules for people based on their ethnic or racial or religious identity or whatever else. Also, this guy's eyes are like terrifying. Bro's just like...
Let me bring in Emily. You've been listening to all this. Your response?
With all due respect, Hasan, why do you feel that Colombia...
When you start with all due respect, you're not about to talk to this person with any respect. Oh, no. This is going to get bad.
All this. Your response?
This is going to get so bad. There's no way around it.
With all due respect, Hasan, why do you feel that Columbia, or any college for that matter, owes you to divest from Israel? Why do you think your opinion is correct? Because
What? I don't think... Bro, when Hasan was talking about that, Hasan didn't say Columbia should not have a sister campus in Tel Aviv because of me. Because of my shit, bro. I matter. I'm saying no. He's saying that the protest that Piers Morgan asked him about, that is their goal. Is the students don't want their tuition money to go towards Israeli support. Why are you getting into Hasan's opinion right now on this and making it seem like Hasan's just telling Colombia what to do? That's obviously not what's happening. Hasan's just relaying support for a widespread movement of students. That's so crazy. I don't know why you would ever say that. That's an insane way to view that. It's honestly a little brain dead.
Vest from Israel. Why do you think your opinion is correct? So far, I heard the classic buzzwords: apartheid, discriminatory, ethnic cleansing, and genocide, which is fun.
The classic buzzwords, genocide. If the classic buzzwords against your fucking thing that you support is genocide, maybe you should rethink your positioning. That's crazy.
And genocide, which is funny because it's all the exact opposite. So if I may ask you, what about Israel is apartheid? You also just said the students in Israel, the campus in Israel would...
Well, what about it is apartheid is that there's different rules and an objective systemic discrimination against Palestinian people, and on a wider note, Arab peoples. And that is some apartheid shit, right? Didn't Nelson Mandela also say, hold on, let me pull this up. Didn't Nelson Mandela also say that, like, Palestine and Israel was some apartheid shit? Yeah, right here. Get fucked. Hold up. Let me pull this up right now for the people at home. All right, this is from PBS. Nelson Mandela's support for Palestinians endures with South Africa's genocide case against Israel. Barely 2 weeks after his release, Nelson Mandela flew to Zambia to meet with African leaders who supported his fight against South Africa's apartheid system of forced racial segregation. Palestinian leader arrived there. It was a confirmation of the solidarity between two men who consider their people's struggles for freedom to be the same. South Africans continue to support the Palestinian cause and has taken the rare step to bring a genocide case against Israel. Mandela and South African leaders after him compared the restrictions Israel placed on Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank with the treatment of black South Africans during apartheid, framing the two issues as fundamentally about people oppressed in their homeland. There you go. That's why it's fucking apartheid. The literal experts of apartheid, the people oppressed in South Africa, are saying that is apartheid shit. So get fucked, white lady. Take off your fucking dog tag.
Would not allow Palestinians to join. Are you confused, or do you know nothing about the country of Israel? Because let me remind you, Jews are not allowed in the West Bank and Gaza. However, Arabs have full Israeli citizenship, have the rights, are members of the Knesset, which is the equivalence of, you can think of Congress, and even prosecuted a former Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, an Arab judge. So
Jews aren't allowed in Gaza. I don't think anybody wants to be in Gaza because you fucking flattened the whole place. What are we talking about?
What apartheid exactly are you speaking about? What genocide? What ethnic cleansing? And secondly, how dare you say it's okay to talk about Intifada? Let me remind you, the Intifada...
Bro, you can't leverage fucking 5 questions at Hasan all at once. Because what's going to happen is this lady is going to start getting mad when Hasan doesn't answer one of the 5 and be like, why are you not answering it? Why are you stepping around it? Why are you walking around it? When in reality, he's just trying to fucking answer them all. It's fucking crazy for no reason.
Consisted of thousands of people dying in bus bombings. So are you saying that you support terrorism and killing innocent people?
That's crazy.
Well, Intifada simply just means revolution, and I'm an American, and in 1776, we did one of those, and it was pretty fucking good.
I mean, so Hasan's point here is that, and what he's going to leverage as a point, is that violent revolution isn't always a bad thing, and history reinforces that. Again, with the American Revolution against the UK, look what came out of it. Ultimately, the history books levy it as a positive change. So where is the line drawn in terms of, is this revolutionary act okay versus this one, right? Ultimately, my answer tends to the death of civilians. The death of civilians is never good. It's never okay. But it is an interesting philosophical point to leverage about what violent revolution is okay and what isn't okay. And ultimately, the victors are the ones who write whether it was an okay one or not.
Yeah. What do you think? The American?
Okay,
do you think the American Revolution was a pickle party? Of course not.
We also bombed Hiroshima.
What? That was not a revolutionary act. That's crazy. Why would you put that out there? That's a crazy analogy. That's fucking insanity. This is off the rails already. It's already off the rails. The fact that was just said is fucking nutty. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I know. And that was also unjust and unimaginably cruel.
Yeah.
But of course, the Israel Defender is also defending nuking civilians and killing them by the hundreds of thousands. Now listen, let's get back.
What are you talking about? She's on about nothing. Bro's yapping. You gotta chill out, sis. What is happening? This is chaos. Oh, God.
Let's refocus the conversation to the points that you made. Let's refocus the conversation to the points that you made.
Okay,
you said,
just to remind everybody, I'm actually moderating this.
Bro, Hasan's like, all right, let's refocus the conversation. And Piers like, well, that's fucking my job, bro. That's fucking my job, bro. You can't put the attention off of me for too long. Do you see that? You see that down in the bottom corner? That says Piers Morgan Uncensored, right? This is my shit, bro. Don't try to be calm and moderate this yourself. That's my job. You're supposed to yell. I'm supposed to remain calm.
That's an interesting point that Emily just raised.
Oh, God.
It does seem that you're very selective about the violence that you support. That when you support it, it's justified. When other people use things in a violent way that you don't support, it's unjustified. Seems like it's all skewed to what Hasan Piker thinks.
But they're the same way. Because they're going to speak out against October 7th as being an unjust use of violence. Which it was, because many civilians were hurt in the process. But in that same breath, they're going to support the continued bombing of Gaza as a proper response, a proper use of force. So their criticism to Hasan, you can levy that same criticism to them in turn.
Not necessarily just what I think. I think that there are obvious markers, obvious boundaries. I don't think violence against civilians is justified.
Right, correct.
I talked about October 7 on this very same show, saying that it was a tragedy. It was atrocities that occurred on October 7 specifically. When you target civilians in any capacity, I think that is unacceptable.
Fair.
However,
fair
this
point.
does not mean that violence will not occur in many circumstances.
Also fair point.
Violence has occurred in every single revolutionary action.
Yeah.
Many good revolutionary actions. Obviously, America bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with an atom bomb. That was not a very good
Hamas did on October the 7th.
Anybody. It was not a very good moment for human civilization at all.
Was what Hamas did on October the 7th? Was what Hamas did on October the 7th an example of what you would call a justified revolution?
He just spoke out against October 7th and said that it was unjust. Like literally 10, maybe 7 seconds ago, maybe even 5, said that October 7th was an unjust act of violence against civilians that he is against. Just fucking said that. Like, we're just backtracking. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I don't look at every single act of violence. I look at
You've literally just been reciting a whole load of them.
Systems of oppression.
Why are you avoiding October the 7th?
You do it too.
He's not. He just spoke against October the 7th.
Well, let me ask you one more time.
Hang on. This is not what we're here to discuss.
Emily, hang on.
This is not what we're here to discuss.
Let me just ask you directly one more time. Let me ask you one more time. Do you believe what happened on October the 7th was a justified act of revolution?
So let's fucking... Oh, my God. This the second time we're asking a fucking question he's already answered. Let's see how many we can go. Let's see. Maybe we can get to 5, gang. Can we get to 5?
Oh, wait. Hold on. That's let me clarify. Let me clarify.
He said no.
Very important here.
Right, he said no.
Events that unfolded on October 7 were atrocities. That much is clear.
Boom. Answer the question. Done. All right. We're ending it 2. That should be an answer.
Those atrocities.
I just know how these ghouls are.
Was not an apartheid regime. Israel has been an apartheid regime for 75 years.
In the early, you keep repeating that.
No, you can't just chime in. You
can't
just chime in. You ask me a question. You want it.
True. They ask him a question and say, Hasan, why won't you answer this question? Hasan, why won't you answer this question? Hasan, you're not answering the question. He goes, okay, shut the fuck up. He starts answering the question, and then another one pops up and is like, well, you didn't answer this other question. Like, get one at a time, please. God damn, bro.
You asked me a question.
I'd be ready to fucking drop kick this woman through the screen if I was Hasan at this point. But I have anger problems. So
Israel has been an apartheid
not
regime
actually,
since its
but
inception.
I get frustrated easily.
Until 1967, Israel was an apartheid regime for the Palestinian citizens of Israel, the Arabs, as you called them. There was a two-tier criminal justice system. They were subjected to the military court processes and not the civil court processes until 1967. After 1967, they got citizenship. There are obviously still many different social issues that pertain to the Palestinian citizens of Israel, the Arabs that are living in Israel, those who are not Jewish, of course. However, Israel currently is occupying the West Bank. There are more than 2 million Palestinians that live in the West Bank. Israel's illegally occupying the West Bank. There are checkpoints. There are license plates that restrict Palestinian travel. The Israeli operations in the West Bank have destroyed Palestinian statehood. Now, of course, all of this is readily available for those who want to learn about it, yourself included. I hope you look it up. B'Tselem is an Israeli human rights organization which declared Israel to be an apartheid regime in 2021.
Boom. Answered. Done and dusted. Apartheid question answered. Move on with our lives. What's next?
International declared Israel to be an apartheid regime.
Let me. Okay, before I move. Okay, hang on. Before I just want to bring in our two British panelists here, but just finally, just to clarify, Hasan, I can't quite work out whether you said you do think October the 7th.
Bro, what are we doing? What are we doing here? He answered it. He said it was atrocities. He doesn't support it. This is the fucking third time you've asked this fucking question that was answered before you even started asking it. Holy shit, bro. Oh my god. I don't know how Hasan does it. I want to run through a fucking wall and I'm not even there live. I'm watching this after the fact and have no horse in this race.
Was an
Holy
unjustified
fuck, bro.
act of revolution, or whether you change your mind. So can you clarify?
I think that
Okay.
violent means of maintaining an apartheid is inevitably going to yield violent retaliation.
So
this
was it justified?
Something that is completely avoidable.
Was it justified?
Civilian deaths are never justified.
You know what, Hasan?
Answered. He said no. Civilian deaths are never justified. That is a no answer. It is the third no that he's answered to the third question.
Hang on, Emily.
You look
Emily, let me.
Poland's mother in the eyes. No, you look this person's mother in the eyes, and you tell him that this was justified.
Bro, first of all, oh my god, this woman's crazy. This woman's insane. Holy shit, that's nuts. Okay. First of all, he didn't say it was justified. So this whole fucking bit is crazy. Second of all, how many pictures can be pulled up of Palestinian children or even adults, women, children, men, whatever, dead, like babies, like 0-year-olds, dead, can be pulled up, and you're pulling up this guy to try to bait Hasan into like a guilt trip bait? It's so crazy. And honestly, the fact that you would bring up, and you know, obviously the fact that this guy right here lost his hand, you know, everything from like here upward is awful, right? That sucks. It's unfortunate that it happened, and it feels bad, right? But at the same time, do you not view Palestinians as humans? Do you view this man above the dead Palestinian children? Because, you know, he lost his hand, which is awful, but he didn't lose his life. He can still live on after this, especially in a country like Israel, which is technologically advanced and rich. He can get prosthetics. Like, it's obviously not the same as having his hand, and it sucks. Again, I want to reiterate that it sucks, but like, you know, it feels like you're viewing one piece of hay in the entire hay bale. in a sense, right? You're picking this one instance while the world's exploding around you. You know, you stubbed your toe in the middle of a battlefield. That's what this is like right now. You're making a mountain out of a molehill while you're sitting in fucking Nepal looking up at Mount Everest, right? Like, that's what this feels like right now. And also, this whole, like, guilt bait thing is fucking disgusting. And in a sense, she's using this guy's injury, his disability now, for a political tool, a political gotcha. She's objectifying this person. It's the same way that people show, you know, like, footage of Palestinian children and be like, wow, Joe Biden, I can't believe you support Israel. It's like, dude, these are humans. Stop leveraging them for minute political gain. Like, the main focus should be on the tragedy that this is, not using them to forward your own means.
You tell him his arm being blown off and being held in captivity for 200 days is justified.
I do love that the Israel defender has no capacity to fucking hear anything I'm saying.
Palestinians who are
What are you
made of
talking
identity.
about? It just, if you're not going to respect me
You
and
think
listen
that
to what
we're
I have to
occupying
say,
the West
which,
Bank.
by the way,
You
of course
think
you
we've
don't respect.
occupied Gaza.
Oh, if you talk
Look what
over each other,
happened.
nobody
I'll
can
just
hear
keep
you. I
speaking
just
over
want to
What do you
you.
mean I
That's what
think?
you
It's
do.
not
I just
I
wanna
think.
give
It's not I
Hasan-
think. It's the entire
Hasan,
world knows.
No, it is you
Okay?
think.
It's the
The
entire
only
world
thing that
knows.
Emily,
promote
please.
your narrative.
Let me handle this, Emily. Hasan,
God.
just before I come to the two people who are with me here, I just need some clarity here.
I swear to
because it
God,
seems
if he
like
asks
you're
about
dancing
October
around
7th again, I'm
whether
going to
you
fucking
think
lose my mind.
October the
Piers,
7th was justified.
Fucking, God damn it, bro. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing, bro? Holy shit. God damn it, bro. We can't get anywhere in this conversation because this motherfucker keeps bringing up shit that was already answered. Holy fuck, bro. Oh my God, I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm losing it.
Why are we
or not?
doing this? Why are we doing this back and forth masturbation? I've already given you my
Yeah,
fucking
Piers, why are you
position.
doing this?
I'm
He's
sick and
happy.
tired
It's
of
Jews
repeating it
being
over and over
killed.
again.
Okay,
Because
I just
it's
asked
Jews,
this-
it's okay.
Ask this
Emily,
demon
stop
next to
talking.
me
Group, it's
wearing
not
a
okay.
fucking
I'll come back
IDF
to you.
dog
Only
tag.
when it's Jews, it's okay.
Please
Ask
stop
this
shouting
fucking
at each
demon next
other.
to me wearing an IDF dog tag if she actually thinks Israel's
No,
actions are
bring them
justifiable.
home.
Do you
It's
see
to
me
bring the
rocking the
hostages
fucking
home.
It's still a fucking IDF dog tag. It doesn't matter what's fucking carved in it. It's still an IDF dog tag, lady.
The hostages
All right,
that you
it's talking
rightly
over
believe
each other.
belong in
All
the
right. You know what
tunnels
it
of
is.
Gaza.
I'm gonna
know
give you
why-
two.
Also, isn't Israel the reason that the hostages aren't home? Like, Netanyahu hasn't declared a ceasefire with Palestine and Gaza to actually retrieve the hostages, and then fucking blows up the tunnels where the hostages are being held.
It
Yeah.
looks
I'm going to
that
let
way.
you two
That is
calm
the
down.
same
It's
size and
pointless.
shape
We
of an
cannot
IDF
hear
dog
you
tag. You're
when you
wearing
talk over
that
each
to
other.
troll people.
Every time recently I have someone
Okay.
from both
I'm
sides
wearing
on,
this
like,
to
it
troll
goes like
people.
this.
I'm wearing this rusty necklace.
Please,
because
can you
there are
listen to me,
200 Israeli
Emily?
Civilians
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Gaza
yeah.
All right,
right now.
can you
as
stop
hostages.
doing this to each other, please?
Emily,
Nobody
Emily,
can
can
understand
you
a word
condemn the
either of
actions
you
of
saying.
Israel?
Now, let me come to Esther and James here. This is one of my problems,
No, I want to
actually.
hear if Emily condemns
No,
the
no,
actions of
Hassan,
Israel.
you
Why
will
don't you ask
please
her
let me
about that?
moderate the
Why
debate.
don't you ask her about
I don't condemn
30,000
the
people?
idea.
No, Piers, you shouldn't be allowed to fucking moderate the debate. Because all you're going to do is you're going to be like, Hassan, you haven't answered my question on what you think of October 7th for the fucking 5th time in a span of 5 minutes. Holy shit. God, this is chaos.
Two
I
panelists
condemn
here
the
have not
fact
had
that
a
on
word
October
yet.
Exactly,
7th,
'cause you're a
they
fucking
kidnapped
terrorist.
civilians
Please stop
from their
talking.
homes.
Also, Hassan's been getting fucking double teamed by these fucking two demons right here this whole time. And honestly, two British panelists, I expect a 4v1.
And I think you're a terrorist. And I think you're a terrorist as well.
Okay. Well, I'm not the one wearing.
Because
I'm
until
not
the
one
hostages
wearing
are home,
the
don't expect the war to be over.
insignia. Yeah, I know.
Bring
you don't
them
care about
home.
the hostages. If you
I
cared
love
about
how
the
you're
hostages,
condemning
you
me.
would
You
be
are
screaming at
exposing
Benjamin Netanyahu.
your own terrorism
Benjamin
on live
Netanyahu
television.
is the hostage
you
killer.
are exposing You know,
Benjamin
excuse
Netanyahu
me,
has
you
killed
should
more
condemn
hostages
Hamas.
than
What do
Hamas
I
You need
have
to
you
be
think you're
condemning
achieving
Hamas
here?
for not only oppressing the Palestinian people, but for spreading terrorism. I don't see your outrage at Hamas. Israel gave Gaza
All right,
back
listen,
in 2005,
I would like to, please.
and Hamas has turned
Can you
this
both
into a
please-
I think Hamas
terrorist
is the
haven.
lesser
instead of
Emily and
building a
Hasan,
safe
can you
Hamas is
please
the
show
lesser
some
evil.
courtesy
Hamas
to the
is
other
the lesser
panelists?
evil in
This is
comparison
awesome.
to Israel.
This is
Can you
hilarious.
please stop talking, both of you, and
You
let
hear
the
me?
other two panelists have a
You want a
say?
soundbite, Pierce? I'll give you
Give
a
them some
soundbite.
courtesy. Please. Some courtesy for your co-panelists here. Now, Esther, this is one of the problems I have with this whole debate, is that increasingly it just descends into a screaming match between pro-Palestinians and pro-Israelis.
And the biggest losers are the
She has
victims
no
of this
respect.
war.
Yes, correct.
33,000 dead Palestinians, over 1,500 dead Israelis. These are the biggest victims of this, because you're shouting at each other and nothing is getting, like, you're completely, forget having no courtesy for us, you're completely disrespecting actual victims of this conflict, which, by the way, didn't happen in a vacuum. And I think that's the most important thing to say about this.
I don't know if you can lump Hasan into disrespecting the victims of war, because I don't think he's done that yet. He spoke, as much as Piers Morgan apparently is not able to decide what was actually said. Hasan has spoken out against the actions of Hamas on October 7th and has spoken out against the bombing of Gaza by Israel, which is, that's how civilians have died. So in a sense, Hasan has been the only one to speak out against the death of civilians, while this Israeli supporter is only speaking out against the death of Israeli civilians and has said nothing except kind of levy support, by wearing Israeli dog tags for the bombing of Gaza. So only one person is actually disrespecting the real victims of this conflict here, and it is this woman right here.
None of this happened in a vacuum. Of course, October the 7th was an atrocity. And
Yes.
it was completely unjustified. There was no justification for butchering people in the way that they did. But it didn't happen in a vacuum. A lot of the people
Right.
who live in Gaza weren't even born at the time that Hamas came in power. So I really I despise...
Yeah, before the bombing and stuff started, the average age in Gaza, I think, was slightly under 18. It's mostly children.
This, you're a terrorist sympathizer, you're a genocide supporter, all of this, when really the people that we should be talking about deserve better.
Okay, James, on the wider point of these protests...
Well, I couldn't get to that part because I wanted to describe what the apartheid is, and
Okay.
Emily cut in immediately to chirp about some random shit.
Okay, you were both abusing each other. It was very unedifying.
It was very
let me ask James. James, on the
Oh,
protest...
God.
Dude.
On the protest, I believe in the right to protest.
God.
That's an absolute bedrock of any democracy. But I don't believe in the right to support terror groups publicly or to chant about...
So you don't believe in free speech. You just don't. The basis of free speech is that... Okay, so how does one define a terrorist? Who fucking... Leave me alone. How does one define a terrorist? A terrorist is labeled, a terrorist group is labeled by the government. So let's use the United States as an example, because that's where I live, and that's where a lot of viewers that are probably going to watch this live. So, in the United States, for a group to be defined or labeled as a terrorist group, it has to gain that official label by the U.S. government, right? So what you're saying, Piers Morgan, by saying that you don't think people should be allowed to support terrorism, is people should not be allowed to support groups that the government does not support or the government deems as dangerous. That's a dangerous precedent to set, because while you might be like, oh, of course we don't want people supporting, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, whatever else. What about like the Black Panthers? Would they have been defined as a terrorist group at one point? What about, civil rights movement on a larger sense, other than just the Panthers? What about women's suffrage movement? What about BLM? What about all this stuff? Are those terrorist groups? The government could define them as such, and then because of that, this free speech liar, he does not support free speech. He would say, because the government has defined these groups as terrorist groups and does not support them, people legally should not be allowed to speak out in support of them, which is an incredibly dangerous precedent and is the reason that the First Amendment exists, is for people to be able to speak in support of groups that are against the government. It is the reason it exists. Because the British would have deemed the American Revolution as terrorism. And they made laws which arrested, not loyalists because they supported the British, but revolutionaries for supporting the revolution.
Support for Hamas, or to chant about Intifada, which is a violent uprising. Where's the line for you with these?
I agree. I think we have to condemn what Hamas did, and I don't think the words that have been used so far have been strong enough. I mean, it was the worst thing we've seen in a very long time. It was disgusting, appalling, awful.
Yeah, so the worst thing we've seen in a very long time was immediately followed by 10 times the severity of that. So the worst thing we've seen in a long time was immediately followed by the worst thing we've seen in a long time, which is what Israel is currently doing to Gaza. Which, again, it's just so interesting that the focus of this conversation is on October 7th, something that has happened now over 6 months ago. Big tragedy, yes, but in the 6 months since that happened, we have seen like 30 October 7ths happen in Gaza. It's insane what's happening right now, and the way this conversation is being spun. It is insanity.
For everyone involved. I also have a lot of sympathy, if not, I can't think of a bigger word, for the people of Gaza. It's awful, and I will agree with you. I do want a free Palestine, and I also want a free and successful Israel, but I don't want innocent people murdered. So yeah, you can't go to a protest and start shouting about support for Hamas. That's insane.
Isn't it ironic that something like this has become a haven for like the mentally unwell? You're talking about something as serious as a conflict in Israel and Gaza, and for some reason you have really uneducated people that are clearly 20 years ago would have been in an asylum supporting this openly, not even knowing the conflict, not even knowing the context of what they're supporting, and for some reason we even give it airtime. That's what upsets me. These people don't deserve airtime.
Right? Everyone is so triggered on both sides, on all sides, and rightly so, because a lot of terrible stuff has happened. So that's where the emotion is coming from. But really, I think we all want the same thing, and that is for innocent people to not be murdered or slain in the streets.
Right. I mean, look, Hasan. Hang on, Emily. Something? Please, I'll come to you. Let me just ask Hasan. When you and Emily go at each other like you just did, nobody wins. I mean, no one can really understand a word you're saying because you're shouting.
Nobody wins in political discussion anyways. Everybody approaches the table with their position already held, their biases in hand, and they leave the table with the position that they held when they came in the same biases. Whenever you have two people that are strongly on either side, their minds are not being changed. Human beings are so incredibly mentally stubborn, minds are not changed. Political discussion in this manner is a form of insanity because you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a change, and nothing happens. You don't go into this thinking you're going to change people's minds. It's literally just to create content. The whole point of this is to create content, so for people that maybe aren't on other people's side or actually are open to change, hear your message, relate to it, and then follow through with it and join your side in a sense. These two people, there's nothing that they could say, either of these two people, that could be said to change either of their minds. That's just the reality of the situation.
Over each other, you end up just calling each other terrorists. There's no sensible dialogue here. There's no constructive conversation. It's just two implacably opposed sides abusing each other. Do you understand that?
Yeah, listen, Piers, okay? This is going to always be a very heated discussion.
Right.
Okay? Having
Fair.
a conversation about how heated this discussion is utterly unproductive.
Agree.
Every single moment that we use on air, not talking about every single university building being desecrated, destroyed. The fact that we're having this conversation on the eve of hundreds of mass graves being unearthed right now in many different parts of Gaza around hospitals that Israel had laid siege to is disgusting. I agree. I came on here, as I have done last time as well, and as I will probably do in the future as well, with one simple goal in mind, which is to address all of the misinformation.
Dude, this woman, sorry to pause this on here. This woman is wearing an insane amount of makeup. Absolutely insane. I think Hasan's been touched up a little bit too, but I mean, this woman is reflective. Look at like her nose, like the tip of her nose, like her forehead right there, like cheekbones right there, like lips, holy shit. She's literally reflective. She is so oiled up. That's crazy. Insane amount of makeup. And you have to wonder why.
Stuff like this. As far as the crackhead Barbie thing goes, yeah, she's a random TikTok influencer. Who gives a shit about what she has to say? She's obviously doing it for clout. But the students over at Columbia, okay, the students that I have talked to at the Columbia University Apartheid Divest group, the students that I've talked to from Jewish Voice for Peace.
All right, Emily, let me just ask you
the
same thing I asked Hasan. When you guys...
I mean, Hasan was literally, like, getting into it. He was getting into something, and Piers was like, nah, fuck that. Shit's boring. Let's get back to people yelling.
All right, Emily, let me just ask you the same thing I asked Hasan. When you guys scream at each other and call each other terrorists, it doesn't obviously achieve anything other than...
This whole shit doesn't achieve anything.
The audience. You know, is there not a better way we can have this conversation?
Funnily enough, correct. And funnily enough, I have the same exact answer as Hasan. My job here is to make sure that I'm debunking false narratives that Hasan is clearly spewing. My job here is to call out hypocrisy. And I just saw another one where he's saying that crackhead Barney, whoever the hell that girl was, is a lunatic, but Aaron Bushnell, who lights himself on fire, is a hero. You can't pick and choose.
He didn't say that crackhead whatever is a lunatic. He said that this person is doing it for clout. So they're doing all of this with the sole purpose of achieving some level of internet fame points, which I personally believe, sorry, my chair's broken. I personally believe is dumb. I hate when people do shit for clout like that. Like, but that's what he's saying. The guy who lit himself on fire and then died is obviously not doing it for clout because he fucking died, right? Like, when you die, you can't gain the clout points that you spent time farming.
Choose whatever fits your narrative. And I keep on repeating that over and over again because the Palestinian movement will literally just take what they can get, spew all of the truth into their false narrative, spread misinformation, and then you say that we're the liars. You tell me I'm wearing an IDF dog tag.
You are.
I'm going to bring them home for the hostages that you... No, it says bring them home.
It doesn't fucking matter what it says. It's still a fucking IDF dog tag. Holy shit, bro. Holy shit. So if I get this, hold on. So here's this hat that my brother got me as a gag gift one year. This nice Russian hat with this fucking logo on it, right? It's a gag gift my brother got me. If I just put a little sticky note on the side of this fucking hat that says, like, lol, capitalism's cool, that doesn't mean that it's not still a fucking a Russian, like, fucking communist party hat, right? Just because I put this little sticky note that says differently on it. It's still a fucking IDF dog tag, even if the engraving on it says bring them home. It's still a fucking dog tag. It just has a custom engravement on it. Also, let me get this out of the frame, because that's not a good look. Just to have that in the frame.
You're using the hostages as a simple political tool to make propaganda in the West is quite disgusting. Those protests that are happening in Israel right now are massive.
Are a political tool?
And those
bruh. Oh my god, the mental gymnastics that just took right there. Holy shit. Hasan goes, you wearing this fucking dog tag that says bring them home on the air is you using hostages as a political tool to support your thing. And she goes, oh my god, you're objectifying people and basing them as a political tool? No, he's saying you're doing that. Holy fuck, bro. Oh my god, my brain is melting. I have a concussion and this shit makes sense to me. What's your excuse, lady? Oh my god.
What? You are using
Hasan,
humans in captivity as a political tool. It's so obvious.
Why, Hasan, why are you dehumanizing the hostages? Because I have no problem admitting the Palestinians deserve better.
Not.
I feel terrible.
You're using them as a political pawn.
I can say that.
If you cared about the hostages, you would be in Tel Aviv right now
using the
alongside.
Right, let me bring in James. Let me bring in James, please.
I'm sorry that I can't listen
Please,
to that,
let me bring in James.
I agree with both of you.
Sorry, can you please, when I say stop talking, please stop talking. We've got 4 people here. James.
If anyone is using hostages, surely it's Hamas, Hasan. How can you say that? How can you use that argument? That's a crazy thing to say. It's Hamas
What do you mean, how can I
have
use that
taken
argument?
these
There
people
are
from their
currently
homes,
tens of thousands of people in
murdered their
Israel.
relatives.
There are currently tens of thousands of Israeli citizens right now in the streets of Israel, in the streets of Tel Aviv, outside of Benjamin Netanyahu's house, protesting every single day. What are they protesting? They're protesting for Benjamin Netanyahu to facilitate a ceasefire with Hamas so that they can actually bring the hostages home. That is precisely the number one goal of the family members of the hostages.
Dude, how about the lady with the fucking dog tag on that says bring them home? The very fact that you're wearing that is a political tool. Like, what are we talking about? Anything that you wear that has a political message on it in a debate like this is a political tool. Like, if I was having I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I just don't fucking get it. Oh my God.
Anyone on this panel was being even a little bit honest. They would recognize the reality that, listen.
You didn't listen to my question.
Listen to what I'm saying.
He's trying to fucking answer it.
Understand, perhaps, what I'm trying to imply
That's very
here.
patronizing.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
The hostages. Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the fuck you are, and you're over here chirping all the way from fucking London about Palestine and doing a both sides are fucking.
He did the Palestine. He did. Oh, Hasan did his British accent. Oh no. Oh, this is like an IRL. He's IRL fucking going crazy at a chat member right now. It's all over, bro. This thing's in shambles.
All the way from fucking London about Palestine and doing a both sides are fucking fine.
Oh no.
Bullshit. Where,
Oh
you're
no.
talking about how you want to fucking free Palestine,
no.
but also simultaneously, both sides got a lot going on. Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything, okay? I don't give a shit about what your perspective is.
I agree
Hassan
with
doesn't
quite
like
a lot
what
of
you
the
have
things
to
you're
say,
saying,
so
Hassan.
you're wrong. It's Hassan's way or the highway.
I mean, you
Wow,
are. You
really
are. There is no
clever you
both sides
are.
on a genocide. Is there a
Really
both sides of a
clever.
genocide? There is no both sides.
Well, the thing is,
True.
it's interesting you should mention the
Really?
hostages.
What
There
is
is
in
no
the
both
Hamas
sides
charter?
and
They want
apartheid.
a Jewish genocide, but that's okay. But a
the
Jewish
thing is,
genocide is okay.
if you're talking about the well-being of the
Hamas
hostages,
Okay, but the difference is, let's take this lady. I can't say that I regularly read the Hamas charter. I don't like pledge allegiance to it in the morning or whatever. But let's just assume that this lady is right, and the Hamas thing says to murder all the Jewish people, right? There's a difference between a group that wants to do something and a group that is doing something. Actions speak louder than words, right? There's an active genocide going on right now. You can't be like, well, it's okay to massacre all the Palestinians because a small group of them that are part of Hamas want to do the same thing to us. So, get them while they're young. Like, that's disgusting.
if you're talking about the well-being of the hostages, what sense did it make for the IDF to flatten about 70% of Gaza? Because I completely agree. Bring the hostages home. If you look at Gaza, the topography of Gaza right now, it looks like a pancake. So I'm sorry, this whole argument of Hamas using them as human tools is fine, but the IDF has also been using it to continue that campaign. If you were told that, if God forbid, if your relative was one of the hostages and you saw what's happening right now, and I met someone whose mother is a hostage, and he said he didn't want his mother and her being taken to be used in the name of violence. Right now, he's sitting at home wondering, okay, what is the logic of trying to bring my mother home when you flattened Gaza? Please explain that to us.
Right.
So, can
Good
I
point.
You might very well pull those hostages from under.
Okay, let Emily respond to that.
Everyone wants to criticize the IDF's response, but nobody wants to tell me what should Israel be doing to retaliate October 7th, eradicate Hamas from preventing another October 7th, and bring the hostages home.
I have an idea.
Do you have a solution?
I have an idea.
She's like, well, I'm taking any solutions because the only thing I can think of is genocide. There's no other option, guys. I'm sorry. Like, that's the only one. It's the only one. It's the only logical explanation is just to kill Palestinian children. I can't think of another logical way. How about anything else? Legitimately, how about anything else as what you should do? Anything other than murder, of mass murder at that. Anything other than that, probably a better response. Fucking crazy, bro.
do not flatten Gaza and potentially pull your own hostages up from under the rubble, like have been done with thousands of Palestinians. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Have you found any?
Oh, Hassan hit her with the poetry snap.
That is the answer.
So you
don't
have
kill
an
your
answer.
own hostages.
But you're quick
That's
to
an
condemn the
answer.
IDF,
How
but
does
you
that
don't have
sound?
an answer.
I also
How
have
about
an
not killing the
answer.
hostages?
I just caught a
I have
bug.
an answer.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you for
Getting
proving my
distracted.
It's called the
Yes,
dissolution
Hassan.
of the apartheid regime. That's what it's called. Dissolve the apartheid
So
regime.
what would you like to
allow
see happen,
Palestinians
Hassan?
breathing room. Do you not understand the English language?
We're delayed.
Bro, he's literally explaining everything. And she's like, but what do you want to happen? He's like, I'm in the middle of fucking saying it. Oh my God. I'm throwing hands.
The
It's delayed.
apartheid regime.
You need a Xanax, first of all.
Whoa.
You need a Xanax. Okay, so should Israel do
That's-
Yeah, I'm
to
sorry.
the West Bank
30,000
what they did to
Palestinians have been
Gaza?
ruthlessly slaughtered by the
Should
Israeli
Israel
state.
That's crazy. To say live on a debate you need a Xanax is crazy. This isn't fucking the Burger Kitchen episode of Kitchen Nightmares, lady. Calm down.
give
makes
back
Holy
the
shit.
land so that it could
When
turn
someone
into
is
another
defending that.
Gaza? Is that what you'd like to see? Another terrorist haven launching rockets all day instead of turning it to Singapore? Because that's what they did in 2005.
Wait, hold
we
on.
See
Which
how that
one is
worked.
Singapore?
The
The West
billions
Bank.
of dollars in
Hold on,
aid
is
they
the
turned
West
into
Bank
building
Singapore?
tunnels. Is that what you'd
Wait,
like
wait,
to
wait,
see?
wait,
bombing?
I don't know.
Who's
Have I
bombing
gone
Singapore
deaf?
every day?
Sorry,
What,
Emily, is the
Singapore
West
an
Bank
open-air
supposed to be
prison?
Singapore?
What are you talking about?
Is the West Bank supposed to
The
be
West
Singapore?
Bank received. The West Bank has a port. They can import and export. Israel gave them a great piece of land.
Wait. The West Bank has a port. Hold on. Pause. The West Bank has a port. Where? How? The West Bank's landlocked. What are we talking about? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Hold on. Like, how can you say that? The West Bank has a port. Where does the West Bank have a port? In the fucking Dead Sea. Who is getting them stuff from the Dead Sea? What? West Bank port. Like, where's their port? Like, right on the Dead Sea. Oh, this lady's yapping, bro. What is she on about? Oh my God. Fucking West Bank port. Yeah, the fucking port in a landlocked country. Holy
They
shit.
received billions of dollars in aid, not only from
Israel
the
gave
U.S.,
them a great
but
piece of
Israel
land?
gave. Are you
No.
mad? They had a chance to rebuild, but they spent the last 15
Did she just hit an
plus
"Are
years
you mad"?
crying
Oh, wow.
that they don't have
Okay.
enough
The
land
West Bank
because there
is
is never
Singapore.
enough land for them instead of rebuilding. But that's okay. Build terrorist tunnels. Don't build hotels and don't rebuild
Israel-
civilization.
Oh no, she's hitting a Ben Shapiro. Hitting him with the Israel's build civilization and Arabs like just bomb shit and don't build anything. Oh, she's just hitting a racism like directly in the middle of this fucking thing. You knew it was going to happen eventually, right? Like the real whatever was going to come out eventually.
Build
That's
our
fucking
terrorist
insanity.
tunnels. Keep hostages
Palestinians
in.
to have a nation state that they deserve by international law since the inception of the Israeli nation state. What you are saying is insane to me.
Yeah.
The fact that you brought up the last 15 years as Palestinians crying is disgusting.
Oh, I have one more question.
You are a disgusting little monster
one more question.
who thinks
One more
that
question.
not offering contiguity to the Palestinians in the form of a state, which is under international law, is just simply
Wait, I have
Palestinians
one
crying.
question.
I want to hear her
This-
question.
This West
Palestinians
Bank
don't want a
Singapore.
two-state
Hold on.
solution.
This
They want
West
a
Bank
one-state
Singapore.
I actually really like her. She's been cool this whole thing. She might be my favorite.
solution that eradicates
So far.
the Israelis, which is not an option.
Fine. This West Bank
You're wrong.
Singapore, what place
You're wrong.
does the settlements play in that? Please paint a picture of how the West Bank of Singapore or whatever, Singapore of the West Bank, how does this illegal settlements fit into
Ma'am,
that?
I think you're completely missing the picture.
Just explain to me
Israel
how the
wanted to
settlements
give
fit into
them
that picture.
a piece of land. I'm
How-
explaining it.
Okay, I'm listening.
The picture is they got a great piece of land to turn into society. Instead
Who
of turning
got
it
the
into
land?
civilized society,
Who did?
Hamas Israel gave the land to Gaza. They
So
withdrew.
then why the
They
Israeli
removed
settlements?
It's not
Israelis
Israel's
from
land
their
to give.
homes.
But
It's
then
not
why
Israel's
the
land to
Israeli
give.
settlements?
Good point. Also, this guy has not spoken since Hasan yelled at him. He's been silent.
It is not Israel's
Just giving his
land.
weird
There are
facial
no Jews or
expressions in the
Israelis.
corner.
There are no settlements in Gaza.
In the West
they
Bank.
gave it to
In the West
the
Bank.
Palestinians.
They're not in the West Bank.
I'm speaking about Gaza, and
Oh,
now
I'm
you're
asking
changing
about
the
West
narrative.
Bank because I was interested
I'm
in knowing about
showing
Singapore.
you. I'm telling you that if Israel pulls out completely from the West Bank, if Israel pulls out from the West Bank, you can bet your ass it turns into the next Gaza. The world does not need two Gazas because one Gaza has already caused enough damage. If, however,
Yes.
Gaza decides to demand
Every
that
argument with
Hamas
Israel
removes
is
himself
about
from
some
power,
hypothetical.
and they
It's-
can have democracy,
Israel has to do a
then yes,
genocide
there's
because if
potential for
Israel
a
doesn't do a
two-state
genocide,
solution.
then the Gaza
There's
is
no
not
sounds a bit
genocide.
like
The
you're
only
victim
genocide
blaming
is the
Palestinians
Hamas
in
charter that
Gaza
wants to
when
cannot
that's
do
eradicate the
stolen,
Jews.
and I think
Oh, damn. Bro piped up for the last time. Right here. He's probably for the last time this whole fucking video. Bro piped up to just hit her with the victim blaming. Let's go, Lib. Let's go. Liberals are being weaponized now. Let's go. Hit her with your victim blaming. Let's fucking go. I'm pumped now. That's right.
Genocide.
You know, it's interesting the
God.
word
Nothing
genocide.
defends
because-
genocide.
hang on. It's
There is
interesting the
no
word. It's interesting.
genocide
Hang
happening.
on.
It's just a
Israel is
buzzword.
doing
I would love to get a
genocide.
word in,
Wow.
please. Interesting the word genocide because I've listened to all this fractious debate.
He's going to be like, what are your thoughts on October
The
7th?
truth is that actually only one side is publicly said that they wish to pursue a genocide, and that is Hamas. Hamas, after
What about the group that's actively doing it? Just because they didn't say it don't mean it's not there. Just because you don't call it a bear don't mean it's not a bear. Just because you don't call it this don't mean it's not that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just because you call it multi-level marketing doesn't mean it's not a pyramid scheme, right? Just because you don't say that it's a genocide doesn't mean it's not a genocide.
October the 7th, through their official spokesman on camera, said they wanted to do it again and again and again. That is the purest.
He did bring up October 7th again.
of a
Didn't
genocide.
he? I almost missed it. Oh, this video is so long. Oh, God.
Pursue a genocide, and that is Hamas. Hamas, after October the 7th.
He brought it
through
up
their
again.
official spokesman on
Bro, look at
camera,
Hasan.
said
Look
they
at
wanted to
Hasan.
do it again,
He's
and
like,
again,
fucking
and again. That is the
damn
purest
it.
articulation of a genocide imaginable. And the one thing I never hear from the pro-Palestinian side
You
is
really think
what Israel was
Piers,
actually.
Piers,
Hang on.
Piers,
No, don't
Piers.
interrupt me.
So one
because I haven't
Hamas
asked you a
official,
question yet.
One Hamas guy.
Sorry, I
But
need to
that's
ask you a
ridiculous.
question.
You're being a ridiculous person.
I'm not
You're being a
ridiculous
ridiculous person.
I'm just saying, nobody ever
Because
tells
how
me.
many Israeli officials, even on your show, have said we should keep doing what we have been doing to Gaza over and over again? How does that not register in the same genocidal intent? If you think what that dude was saying, which was, by the way, ridiculous what he was saying, the Hamas official was saying, is that we're going to do October 7th over and over again.
But he said it.
We are justified in doing it over and over again. Yes, I find that to be abhorrent. However, what you fail to recognize is that's the genocidal intent, but not Amalek. That's the genocidal intent, but not saying we are fighting human animals. And that's why we have to cut off their food, their water, and their electricity.
Oh,
That was Defense
cook.
Minister
He's
Yoav
cooking.
Gallant
Where we
who said
going
that.
He's fucking cooking. Oh my God, Hasan's cooking. They let him out. Oh man, they finally let him speak for more than 5 seconds without getting interrupted. Oh, he just cooked. Piers got cooked. Fucking rebuttal of that. Other than this lady saying it's lies, but it's not.
Again,
Netanyahu
you're saying
has
Israel
routinely
cuts
talked
off their
about this over and over
electricity.
again.
They don't even
Israeli
provide
interior
their
security-
electricity. You're
Israeli-
saying they cut off their water. They don't
Israeli
cut off their water.
politicians.
You are
Israeli-
spewing lies on
Can
national
you stop?
television.
Can you? I'm
I
talking
think,
about
so. Hang on.
It's not about you.
I'm not
Again,
gonna
you're
stop.
talking
I'm not gonna
over
let you
each
spew
other.
lies.
Some of
I'm
the.
sorry.
They're not talking over each other. She's talking over him. You can't talk over each other when there's not a back and forth. Hasan's talking, then she started talking over him. This is a one-way relationship right now. You can't make it a two-way one. That's not how English works or how logic works.
Some of the
Maybe another
comments.
army that
There's no
provides
doubt,
aid
Emily,
to people they're at war with.
some of the
Only
comments-
Israel.
some of the-
Israel is
No, Piers,
All
I'm not
right.
letting him
the
spew
most
misinformation.
caring
I'm not
country
letting
on the
him
It's
fucking
pointless.
planet.
blatant
I swear to
lies on
God.
television.
It's pointless. We're getting
No,
nowhere.
because he's
Thank
spewing
you.
Did Yoav Gallant
misinformation.
not say that?
Israel's cutting off electricity,
Okay.
water, and aid.
We're
Just
getting-
Did
spewing
Defense
lies. I'm not
Minister
gonna let
Yoav
you do it.
Gallant say we are fighting human animals or not? Answer that question.
Oh.
Did Defense Minister
Oh, bitch got on her phone. Oh, she got cooked. Oh no, she looked at her phone.
Yeah,
Hezbollah say we are
Hamas
fighting
is
human animals and we have to cut off their electricity, cut off their food, cut off their water.
Okay.
Yeah, the slight
you know what? I'm going to cut
Israel
off. I'm
provides
going to cut off this
79%
debate.
of their electricity. The rest is Hamas.
I'm going to cut off the
That's
debate
not
because
Israel.
we're getting absolutely
provides-
nowhere. But I appreciate everybody.
Hard to, fucking provide electricity for the people when all the fucking power stations have been bombed.
Please joining me. Thank you very much indeed.
What is this ending here? It's just Piers Morgan staring off into the camera like... So that was that video. Interesting. That blonde woman with the IDF dog tags is fucking nuts, bro. She's nuts. That's crazy. When she pulled out a picture of that guy missing a hand, it was like, tell this guy right in the face that you think that him losing a hand was justified. It's like, lady. That's fucking insanity. But this video's gone on too long. It's over the hour mark of me recording. Not all that's probably going to make it into the final cut, but I think we might be sitting right around an hour. So thank you guys so much for watching. Support the channel, subscribe, like, whatever else. I'm heading out. Have a great rest of your day or month or whatever period of time.